The importance of Jesus being the better high priest is an intense highlight in Hebrews. Literally from chapter 6, verse 20, the very end of chapter 6, verse 20, all the way through chapter 10 is that's all he talks about, is Jesus being the better high priest. He's the better high priest who goes before God. He's the better high priest who offers better sacrifices. He's a better high priest that offers better blood. He's a better high priest that does everything. He's better high priest for us. Not what we have right now for the Jewish people in the temple that we see doing this. Our high priest is better than him. If we as Messianic Jews are not allowed to go into the temple to worship, and we're worried about our worship not being able to worship because they're saying we hold to Yeshua and we can't come in and worship, don't worry, you have a better high priest who's already given those sacrifices for you. Do not be afraid of this. He is our better high priest. We've already been covered. We don't really need to go and do those sacrifices if they don't allow us. As the high priest is talked about in 17 different verses, right? Jesus is called the high priest, or the high priest is talked about in 17 different verses throughout Hebrews. This passage that we have read at the end of chapter 4 and the beginning of chapter 5 is a launching point for the preeminence of Jesus being the better high priest, offering the better sacrifice, which is himself as a Passover lamb. And that's just like mind-boggling, right? Because when he's on the cross, he's the high priest, offering himself as the sacrifice. So he's the sacrifice at the same time as him being the high priest, and doing all the things of the high priest on the cross, while he's also submitted himself to also being the sacrifice. Like, that is just an intense, mind-boggling thing when you think about it, okay?